My name is Clara, and at 32 I thought I had life perfectly mapped out. I was a thriving investment consultant, every promotion and bonus earned through relentless hours and unwavering focus. Family was my anchor, my compass. I had always believed that loyalty and sacrifice would be enough to keep love alive. Then came that Tuesday morning. A single message that erased years of devotion in an instant. We think it's best if you step away for now. No explanation. No acknowledgement of the decade I'd poured into their security. Just an abrupt dismissal from the people I trusted most. That night I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I shut down the $100,000 family investment portfolio I had built carefully, meticulously, personally over years. And in that moment I understood something crucial. Betrayal doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, cold and quiet, into the spaces you least expect. Let me take you back to where it all began, so you can understand why losing them cut so deep, and why the choice I made that night was inevitable. I grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Milwaukee, a place where neighbors knew your name, your parents' story, and sometimes even your grades before you returned your report card. Sundays were for cookouts, Wednesdays for gossip, and childhood felt safe, until it didn't. When I was 16, my parents' 20-year marriage collapsed. Messy, bitter, and leaving invisible cracks in every corner of our lives. Mom, Linda, got custody of me and my younger sister, Sophie. Dad, Mark, moved across the city and eventually remarried a woman named Pamela. Their new family felt like a world apart, one I didn't belong to. The divorce brought more than emotional upheaval. It brought financial chaos. Mom had been a full-time homemaker, and suddenly she had to navigate bills, taxes, and mortgages with outdated skills and no network. I can still picture her at the kitchen table, calculator in hand, head bowed, tears tracing lines down her cheeks as she wrestled with overdue bills. Those nights etched something deep inside me. A vow never to be powerless, never to watch my family struggle again. I threw myself into academics like it was a lifeline. While other teens chased parties and first crushes, I stacked shelves at the corner bookstore, kept perfect grades, and wrote scholarship applications as if my future depended on them, because it did. It worked. I earned a full scholarship to a top-tier finance program, becoming the first in my family to attend college. Even as a sophomore, I sent home what little I could, $200 a month from my campus job and internship. Enough to keep groceries stocked, enough to make sure Sophie had her school supplies. Mom called me her rock, and her words lit a fire inside me. I thrived on being needed, on being the one she could rely on. After graduation, I was recruited by a major wealth management firm in Boston. My first salary exceeded anything Mom had ever earned in a year. I still remember calling her, tears streaming down both our faces. In that moment, the struggle of those long nights felt justified. Every extra dollar I earned went home, monthly transfers, unexpected crises, emergencies large and small. Knee surgeries, rent shortfalls, failed businesses, I covered it all. By the time a decade passed, I had sent over $250,000. Christmases were lavish, birthdays unforgettable, vacations funded by me alone. I never complained. Duty was its own reward. 3 years ago, after a particularly generous bonus, I decided to formalize it. I created the family fund, a $100,000 investment portfolio in my name, designed to grow and eventually free them from dependence on my monthly contributions. I called it a security blanket. Mom hugged me and said I was the best daughter imaginable. It felt like the culmination of everything I had done right. But nothing prepares you for the moment when the people you've protected decide you're no longer welcome. The change was subtle at first. Missed calls, short clip texts. Our Sunday chats dwindled to a few perfunctory sentences. Social media told another story. Birthday dinners, barbecues, holidays, all without me. I told myself I was imagining it, that they thought I was busy, that distance wasn't rejection. But the tension grew. Greg, Mom's husband, had never been warm, but his attitude had turned cold. One night I overheard him in the kitchen. Does she always have to mention her bonus? We get it, she's rich. The sting wasn't the words, it was the casual dismissal of everything I had done. And Sophie, once my confidant, began echoing it, questioning my success, declining help, avoiding conversation. My father drifted, silent and polite, as if my life choices were inconvenient truths he'd rather ignore. Even introducing him to Isabel, the woman I loved, was met with awkward silence. My personal life, my joy became a source of friction. Then came Hawaii. Mom's 60th birthday. I planned an oceanfront trip, private tours, the works. Their rejection was subtle but clear. Maybe somewhere closer to home. Sophie said. The dream I thought we'd share, quietly dismissed. And finally, that quiet Tuesday morning, I walked into my office 38 floors above Boston, coffee in hand, ready to start the day, when a notification blinked on my phone. From Mom. We think it's best if you step away for now. No explanation. No thanks. No acknowledgement. Just a sentence that rendered everything I had given meaningless. My calls went unanswered. Sophie texted only. Don't make this a bigger deal than it is. We just need space. Space. 10 years of sacrifice, loyalty, and care reduced to a single word. I sat at my desk stunned. The corporate world had taught me composure, but nothing had prepared me for this. The family I had built everything around turning away without a word. And in that quiet, sterile office I realized, if they wanted me gone, my money didn't belong to them either. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Comment below. Have you ever been cut off by the people who were supposed to love you most? And if this chapter has you hooked, give it a like, it really helps the channel. That Tuesday's message left a hollow ache in my chest. Years of dedication, love, and sacrifice had vanished in 4 simple words. Step away for now. I called Mom. Voicemail. Sophie. Ignored. Dad, the one I had once trusted to see through all the chaos, didn't answer either. It was as if a wall had risen overnight, cutting me off from the people I had placed above everything else. For hours I stared at my phone, scrolling through our past conversations, searching for a clue. Had I been too pushy about Hawaii? Too insistent about the family fund? Had my success become a threat instead of a blessing? I felt rage simmering beneath the surface, but more than that, there was disbelief. How could the people I had built a life around so easily erase me? Then a call from Diane, Mom's best friend, shifted everything. Clara. You need to know what's really happening, she whispered. Greg. He's been poisoning their minds against you. Convincing them your generosity is manipulation. That you've made them dependent so you can feel superior. I blinked. My voice caught. That's impossible. I don't talk about money at work. I never bragged. She believes him, Diane said, then paused. And there's more. Evan. He's been stirring Sophie too. Telling her your relationship with Isabel isn't real. Saying you're only trying to control them through your fund. I felt my stomach tighten. Every late-night transfer, every careful investment, every sleepless worry, twisted into something ugly in their minds. I sat there, the office fading around me. The betrayal was no longer abstract. It had names, voices, motives. Greg and Evan had worked quietly, strategically, to turn the people I loved against me. That night, I reopened the family fund account. My balance, $100,000, earned through my years of sacrifices, every dollar a testament to the loyalty I had given freely. My fingers hovered over the settings, the temptation to act immediate and fierce. I called Janet, our legal specialist. If the account is legally mine, and I'm no longer part of the family, am I obligated to leave it open? Legally, she said. It's yours. You can manage or close it as you see fit. I sat in silence. 10 years of support, totaling over $300,000 in transfers and gifts, documented meticulously in bank statements and screenshots, stared back at me. The math alone was staggering. But the emotional cost, the weight of being invisible while providing everything, was heavier. By dawn, my decision crystallized. The account would be closed. Every dollar would be redirected, not to them but to a cause I could believe in. A charitable foundation for LGBTQ youth from unsupportive families, people who, like me, had learned betrayal from those who should have loved them most. I drafted a message. Clear, concise, and unflinching. Mom, Sophie, Dad, Greg, Evan. Effective immediately, all financial support will cease. The family fund will be closed within 24 hours. The account is legally mine, and I have confirmed with counsel that this action is within my rights. I hit send. The phone exploded. Calls, texts, demands, protests. Clara, how could you? Mom cried. That account was for our future. Sophie yelled. It's my money, I said evenly. You asked for space. I'm respecting that request. Mom sputtered. Greg interjected, trying to twist words into guilt. Evan's voice cut sharp through Sophie's. You're punishing us. I remained calm. This isn't punishment. It's consequence. They had taken years of my love, loyalty, and sacrifice for granted. I would not let them take my integrity too. By nightfall, the account was closed. The balance transferred to the foundation. I blocked their numbers, deactivated social media, and for the first time in a decade, the chaos stopped. The grief hit like a tidal wave, but beneath it, a flicker of relief glowed. I had been betrayed, but I had reclaimed control. My energy, my time, my money, and my life were mine again. If this chapter resonates with you, tap like, it really helps the channel, and comment below if you've ever had to draw a hard line with someone you loved. The morning after I closed the family fund, Boston felt different, lighter, quieter, like the city itself was giving me space to breathe. No calls, no messages, just the gentle hum of life continuing without me being needed, without me being taken for granted. I walked to work slowly, savoring the freedom that came with each step. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying everyone else's expectations, crises, or disappointments. I didn't have to anticipate arguments, bribe peace with money, or chase approval that would never come. I was finally free to live for myself. That afternoon, Diane called again. She told me stories I hadn't known. Small acts, whispers, manipulations I had never imagined. Greg and Evan had been quietly rewriting the narrative of my life for months, painting me as controlling, selfish, unfit to be part of their family circle. Instead of anger, I felt clarity. The betrayal was undeniable. But so was the lesson. People show you who they are long before the moment of reckoning. I had spent years hoping for love that never came. Now I didn't need it. Over the next week, the fallout was astonishing. Mom's circle of friends learned what had happened. Sophie's husband griped about lost opportunities. Messages flooded in from relatives, colleagues, and even former neighbors. People were stunned, confused, even judgmental. And I stayed silent. I let them live with the consequences of their choices. That silence became my power. Every day, I poured energy into the foundation, connecting with LGBTQ youth who had no one to advocate for them. I gave guidance, mentorship, and financial support, things I had once given blindly to the people who had betrayed me, now directed to people who truly needed and appreciated it. In the evenings, I walked along the Charles River, letting the wind wash over me. I thought of all the times I had tried to earn love, to prove my worth, to buy attention with checks and gifts. And I smiled quietly because the truth was liberating. I didn't need their applause. I had my own. Then one afternoon, a message came from Dad. Hesitant, careful, unfamiliar in its tone. I'm in Boston. Can we meet? We met in a small cafe near Harvard Square. Fog wrapped the city in soft gray light, the world holding its breath with me. Dad looked older, his voice trembling slightly as he spoke. I was wrong, Clara. I thought keeping peace meant protecting the family, but I just let you fight alone. I said nothing. Words weren't necessary. Silence conveyed everything I needed. He reached across the table, shaking, fragile but sincere. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I just wanted to thank you for being the person I didn't have the courage to be. That was enough. I nodded. No reconciliation, no apologies demanded, just acknowledgement. Mom called later that evening. Her voice was brittle, small, worn. They're saying awful things about me, she whispered. I just wanted Sophie to have the chances I never did. You understand, don't you? I did. I understood entirely, finally. But this time, her words held no power. I didn't argue, didn't cry. I said softly, I do understand. The weeks that followed were quiet but full of life. I rebuilt my routines, my work, my joy, all unencumbered by their drama. My energy went into meaningful relationships, new adventures, and projects that reflected my values. I didn't need permission to be happy. I didn't need approval to feel whole. By the next year, the empty seats were no longer symbols of loss. They were reminders of choice. My grandfather's words echoed in my mind, stay whole. And I had. I had finally stopped bending, waiting, hoping for love from people who had never understood it. Now evenings were spent on my balcony, tea in hand, city lights reflecting in the Charles River below. Sometimes I thought of Milwaukee, the house I'd once poured my heart into, the family I had sacrificed for. But the memories no longer burned. They existed, quiet and unthreatening, like chapters of a story I had already finished writing. I had learned the most important lesson of all. Closure doesn't come from confrontation. It doesn't come from vindication. It comes from reclaiming yourself, from walking away building and thriving, from letting life reflect truth back to those who chose deception. Sometimes, when the wind shifts just right, I hear my grandfather's gentle reminder, "Stay whole." And I smile because